You're looking here at drone footage from above the Los Angeles home of Sean Diddy Combs.
First up, the story everyone is talking about today.
I was shocked. I was taken back. I was really shocked.
The entertainment world is shaken with the investigation into Sean Diddy Combs. I remember watching the news about the raids at his homes or on his homes and just feeling that special ripple. You know, that moment when something hidden suddenly comes into the light. This case feels different simply because it's not just a typical celebrity scandal. I've noticed conversations at dinner tables, even online, and even amongst industry professionals, is shifted into looking into the deeper power structures that have stayed hidden for decades. There's a real feeling that something big is changing. What if I told you that what we're seeing isn't just a celebrity scandal, but actual quantum events creating waves through our shared reality? So when deeply hidden systems of power are suddenly exposed, what happens is it creates a shift that affects all of us, whether we realize it or not. So today I'm going to show you the fascinating quantum ideas behind what happens when industry secrets become visible and how you can navigate these reality shifting moments with purpose and clarity. So why is the Diddy investigation creating such big waves? When the Diddy investigation hit the headlines, something fascinating happened. In quantum physics, there's an idea called superposition. So this is where things can exist in multiple states until someone looks at them. Industry secrets work in a similar way. They exist as open secrets that everyone knows or kind of knows about, but nobody officially acknowledges. So the stories about Diddy's parties and behaviors, they existed this way. They were known, but not known, talked about, but denied. When federal agents raided Diddy's homes and serious allegations came out, it was like shining a light. Suddenly, what existed in the shadows was forced into the open. Remember those videos of the raids? That wasn't just legal action. It was the moment that these secrets became real to everyone. And this is why this case feels so important. It's not just about one celebrity. It's about forcing a shift, or it's forcing a shift in how we understand the entertainment industry. Because when millions of people process these revelations together, it creates a wave of awareness that grows stronger as it spreads. I mean, I've felt this myself, that feeling of I knew it when something I've long suspected is suddenly confirmed. And you might have felt it too, that moment of recognition that hits you deeply. That's what happens when hidden information suddenly becomes visible to everyone. If you think about all those interviews and stories that circulated for years about these parties, they existed in this strange middle space. You know, they were not quite known or not quite acknowledged, not quite denied. But once the raids happen, all that change, and it's like turning on lights in a dark room. Suddenly everything that was there all along becomes impossible to ignore. So this shift from maybe it's happening to it's definitely happening is what creates such powerful ripples through our collective awareness. It's not just about new information, it's about information that was always there, but is now impossible to look away from. How do revelations create a domino effect? What we're seeing with the Diddy investigation is creating what quantum physics calls entanglement. And this is where separate things become connected in ways that can't be broken. So if you think about it like this, for decades, certain industry behaviors stayed separate, known to insiders but hidden from public view. The investigation is connecting these separate pieces, forcing them to form a more complete picture. So look at how quickly other stories emerged after the initial raids, the lawsuits, the former associates speaking out, old interviews suddenly making more sense. This explains why we're seeing the revelations beyond just Diddy himself. Once the first domino falls, it triggers others. I watched a 2016 interview with Diddy recently that seemed normal at the time, but but now it means something completely different. And that in itself that's entanglement. Past events seen in a new light because of what we now know. The amazing thing about quantum entanglement is that once things become connected, they stay connected. Similarly, once these industry truths become widely known, they create a permanent change in our understanding. And this is why no matter what happens in court, the entertainment industry will never be quite the same. This also explains, the strong reactions we're seeing when big shifts happen. It pushes against the old way of doing things. So people who benefit from the old system will naturally push back the hardest. Have you noticed how certain people in the industry immediately jump to defend or distance themselves? That's because this chain reaction threatens established patterns. The more someone has invested in the old system, the more uncomfortable the system or this shift feels to them. And what's fascinating is how one revelation leads to another in an unstoppable sequence. Someone sees the news about Diddy, which reminds them of something they witnessed years ago, which then they now feel empowered to share, which then validates someone else's experience. It kind of creates a cascade effect. And this is exactly how hidden truths finally break through to the surface. So how can you navigate these big reality shifts with purpose? The first thing is to kind of recognize that your own awareness matters in this process. Your attention, I'm going to say that again, your attention is helping to establish the new understanding that's emerging. So if you think about it like this, in quantum physics, there's something called the observer effect, and it shows that things change when someone watches them. Similarly, your attention helps to make truth real once it emerges. I've noticed this in my own experience. When I focus on the bigger picture rather than just the gossip, I feel a lot more centered and a lot more empowered. So by focusing on the system problems rather than just the scandal, you're helping to create just a more meaningful conversation. Ask yourself, what does this reveal about systems that need to change? How can this lead to positive change in entertainment? And second, practice what I would call truth sensing. And truth sensing is the ability to be able to feel what rings true versus what feels off. Truth has a different feeling than distraction or spin. I'm going to say that again. Truth has a different feeling than distraction or spin. As more information comes out about this case, trust that inner sense rather than just accepting what you're told. Yeah, I've been practicing this by just kind of noticing what news makes my body tense up versus information that brings clarity, even when the content is uncomfortable. And finally, just kind of understanding that these shifts create temporary confusion before new understanding emerges. Because the truth of the matter is during this time, it's normal to feel unsure about what, to believe. This is actually a powerful creative period where your awareness can actually help shape what comes next. And that's by staying grounded in your own truth while remaining open to new information. You can navigate these shifts with grace and even use them as opportunities for growth. This is a skill. The skill of navigating reality shifts becomes increasingly valuable in today's world. And that's because we're living in a time when many hidden truths are coming to light simultaneously. And the ability to stay centered while processing revelations becomes more essential, or is becoming more essential. I found it helpful to ask myself, what can I learn from this? What can this new information help to create a better industry or a better world? And that shifts you just from feeling victimized by revelations to feeling empowered by new awareness. And remember that your conscious attention is actually helping to stabilize the new understanding that's emerging. Because when millions of people focus on these revelations with the intention of creating positive change, what happens is the collective focus becomes a powerful force for transformation. These moments of industry revelations aren't just celebrity news. They're quantum events that reshape our shared reality. So by understanding what's happening beneath the surface, what you're doing is you can move from being unconsciously affected to consciously participating in these important shifts. The Diddy investigation represents something much bigger than one person's actions. What it's doing is it's revealing patterns that have shaped entertainment for decades. By approaching it with awareness, you can help ensure that these revelations lead to positive change rather than just scandal. How have you been experiencing ripples or the ripples from the Diddy investigation? Are you noticing changes in how people talk about power in entertainment? Love to hear your thoughts. So share your thoughts in the comments below, guys. Love to hear how you're navigating these collective awakening moments. If this perspective resonated with you, hit that like button and subscribe to join our community. And until next time, stay conscious in the field.